What's happening, amigos? So I'm trying to get this thing all set up. It's a new setup for me, so I'm trying to see what I can do with it. I'm trying to get my comments up so I can see that and see what's going on. Let's try it out. Got to turn the volume all the way down. There we go. All right. So I think we're live. I don't really know how to monitor myself. Let's see if I can put this up here. That way I can kind of see what's going on. So I don't know if I can see this way or not. I gotta wait for the lag to catch up. Yep. Okay, so today what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on the Whoopacabra. We're gonna open up some boxes, or a box of parts. I guess 2 boxes. We're gonna work on the Whoopacabra, get that thing ready. We're gonna try to get to the CCXRC build. I was here until 12:30 last night. So I'm beat. I'm a little tired. So it might be, I'm going to go for the full hour, but I don't know if I'm going to work past that before. I plan on setting up another camera and time-lapsing this work for another video. I don't know if that's going to happen. Hopefully, if you guys are in the chat, if you guys can let me know if you can hear my audio all right. This is a full, all-new setup, so I'm kind of trying to figure out how that works. Oh, I see I have the CCXRC banner up there. I probably should take that down. But Tony, sorry, I didn't realize that. I'll do it later because my camera and all the controls are way up there on the rig. So I'll have to figure that out for next time. But yeah, if you guys are watching, if you guys can chime in on the comments and just let me know if the audio is all right. It's probably going to sound a little muffled because I'm going off of my earbuds instead of going off of a real mic. I just don't want to throw a mic down here because those typically have some magnets in them, and I'm going to be welding and grinding and all that kind of stuff eventually. So if I did it, I'd have to use a boom mic or a shotgun. So we'll figure that out later. But basically, we're just testing this out. I'm hoping to do this through to the summer at least to start it, and definitely all of April. And I realized that this April, in 2 weeks, I'm going to be at a race on a Saturday. So I don't know if a Saturday morning time was a great time slot. I'll have to kind of cross that bridge when we get there. So first off, I need my coffee. So I went and stopped by a coffee shop on the way here because obviously being here only a few hours ago, I wasn't going to make my own coffee. I was like, nope. Going to buy some coffee. So hopefully I don't spill this too bad. Ooh, nice. Quick pour. Bam. All right. I'm hoping I don't get disturbed. I turned off my compressor. I locked the shop doors. All that kind of stuff. So first off, what we're going to do today is we're going to bust into the Whoopacabra donor car. And I was torn because I was like, do I bring my RC working tools here or not, or do I just keep those on my bench? And I think I'm just going to keep them on my bench because at home because it's just too much to manage. RC is already kind of taking over the shop, my office, and my home shop. So we'll see what we can do about that. Actually, first, what we're going to do is we're going to do some body work on the Whoopacabra. I'm going to make a dam and pour some epoxy in there, and we'll see how that works. All right, so all 3D printed. I don't know if you can see this. So I had a bad adhesion problem on the print bed. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put duct tape on the back side of this and really try to make that, like, I guess, liquid tight And then I'm going to pour epoxy in here and try to fill that up. I don't know how much at a time I'm going to go, but we'll see. We'll see if I can get a good seal because it looks like it's kind of gnarly. So it's always one of those things where water or anything liquid finds any crack and crevice. So I don't have any, what's it called? I don't have any super glue here. Normally I use Starbond super glue, and I have the thick stuff with the activator, and that would basically fill all the little end of the cracks. And that generally will stop the fluid from going anywhere. So, quick shop tip, when you have tape, don't ever lay your tape down like this on the table. What happens is you've got so much dust and grit on the table, you put your tape down and it actually makes the edges stick less. So if you're trying to, mask off something, the edges aren't going to be very good. So always put it standing up. All right, so and if you're watching, well, check in. Let me know where you're coming from. That would be awesome. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to get the tape in as close to the seam as possible, making sure to push down the tape so it doesn't go anywhere. Let's see. Oh, I got a cut on my finger from the UDR the other day. I don't know if you guys have ever cut yourself with Lexan, but oh my goodness, it like took a chunk out of my finger. I've done that before. It's never fun. It's always like lifting up a heavy truck with a Lexan body and the Lexan acts as a knife and just slices. All right, so getting a good little coverage in there. Let's see. Looks like this is looking pretty good. I see one crack that I know is going to be a problem. So, if you notice, I put my tape off to the side, the cast off. I always, on the parts that rip out funny, same when I'm doing vinyl, I throw those off to the side because sometimes you can cut a little strip like this and throw it where you need to throw it, and it really helps out. So, versus trying to waste a big piece. So I think that actually might work out pretty good. I'm going to do that to this side also. Allergy season is upon us. Oh my gosh. Yesterday I woke up and my nose is just like, come on now. Like, it's funny because with all the sickness stuff going around, you can totally tell, like, well, this is allergies. I'm not sick. This is allergies. People forget that we had those before. All right, so now I've got a nice little dam in here. So the epoxy I use this Loctite stuff. Is this the 5 minute? So this is 5 minute. So a lot of times in something like this, I would use the 1 minute, and it cures up really quick, and you can just keep on going. So I'm going to put a little base layer and check to make sure it's not leaking anywhere. And then after that sets up while we're doing other stuff, I'm going to come back and throw another layer in, hopefully. As I slurp my coffee on the live. Check in where you're coming from. Let me know how the audio is, how the video is. Let me know if it looks like I'm looking at the camera when I do look up. There's a lot of things that I'm trying to work out. I'm trying to figure out, like, I guess I have to be way under here to look in the camera. I'm trying to find a good angle that will get a good shot of the car and also kind of see me when I'm talking to the camera. It's a kind of a delicate mixture, because if I do it and just have the car, then you can't see me. What's up? What's up? What's in the box? Thanks for coming in, man. So all the way from across the pond. Nice. Look at that. First international, I think. But it's a delicate balance of, do I want the video to be on me, or do I want the video to be on the car more? If I go too wide, then you can't see the detail. So, and this show, I think, is more of a detail-oriented show. Yeah, finally catching a live for me. Well, this is new. This is going to be a new thing. I'm going to try to do this on Saturdays. I realized that I'm going to be racing, so I might check in on race days and, make it a shorter one. But we do all kinds of racing. So this year you're going to see buggy racing. Actually, we're going to be racing stadium truck. So you're going to see stadium truck racing. You're going to see some crawling events, monster truck racing. We're doing both turf and dirt. So lots of different types of racing we're going to be doing. The UDR is awesome. I cannot be happier with the UDR. It has been a real joy. Gary, hello from Pennsylvania. What electric screwdriver and bits do you use? Audio is good. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Yay, monster trucks. Actually, I'm going to Monster Jam today. I hadn't planned on it, and then I stayed at the shop till about 1 o'clock, 12:30 last night. And I was like, yep, we're going to Monster Jam. So after this show, I might go and take a quick little cat nap. And then once the cat nap is done, me, the kid, and my pops are going to make the trip down to Seattle, which is, probably, how far am I from Seattle? I would say 40 minutes to an hour away from Seattle. I'm a little north of that. But screwdriver, let me get back to that question. So I use two types of bits, or I use actually three types. So I have a reef set, I have a CCXRC Mighty Tool set, and those are generally for going on trails and kind of like traveling with. At my bench, I use the CCXRC set, especially for the mini crawlers. But I mostly use either a reef set that I got or an associated set that I got. And the driver is just a cheap driver off of Amazon. I asked for one for Christmas a few years ago, and I got one for and it was like a $20 one. So, and it's worked great. I suggest if you get one that has an adjustable clutch, because that really helps so you don't strip out the plastics when you're driving it in. Let's see, what's the next question? UDR is on my list. Love the content. Thank you for turning me on a scale metal supply. No problem, dude. Your next one's in July for Matcha Jam. Yeah, we only get it here once, sometimes twice a year, and the stadium series that's here, I'm not a huge fan of. We always go to that. We used to go to both of them. We used to have one called in the Kingdom, which was our big, stadium years ago, in the 80s and 90s. But now we have where we play football. It's called Lumen Field, where the Seahawks play. And that's a little nice. I've actually never seen it out there, so I'm really excited because it's a big stadium venue, just like the ones you see on TV. So I'm very excited for that. So far, this stuff looks like it's filling in pretty well. I like that it has a syringe so I can kind of work it in. At first, I wasn't going to fill this whole thing in because I was worried about it blowing out on the backside. But the viscosity is pretty thick on this. I would say it's like thick syrup. It's pretty cold in my shop right now. It's probably 45 degrees outside, so it's probably 50 degrees in the shop, maybe a little warmer. So this has been sitting on the shelf in the shop, so it's pretty chilly. So far, so good. Okay, so I'm going to put it on the plastic. And of course, my paper towels are not here. And I'm searching my shop visually. I see my paper towels. I'll be right back. But I got you on my ear so I can still talk while I go over there, which is kind of neat. So I'm going to head on over to the other side of the shop. So this is actually my place of business. And I do work out of here. I build all kinds of fun stuff. I design it and then build it. So signs and displays and all kinds of fun things. Let's see. Lumen Field. If you see my buddy Reagan, famous Monster Jam Lord, say hey from Pete. Yes, I will. So, hoping to run into Ryan Anderson today. We're going to get the pit party passes. Surprised my son with it last night when I told him we're going. So, should be pretty fun. I don't know how much of this stuff I want to use as filler because it's actually pretty awesome. I might ease this little edge down a little bit. Let's see if I can throw this on there. So all this will get sanded. I'll probably hit it with the right angles or the 90-degree little high-speed die grinder sander just to knock it down. And then come back and fill what I gotta fill. And then hit it with a DA sander. That way it'll all work out. Yeah, dude, he's a really awesome guy. It was a lot of fun when I got to meet him with Tony when we were working on the Lozy shoot. That was really fun. And I'm going to bring my trucks just in case. Just in case something happens and we get to go and run. It's pretty crappy weather out here today, so I don't know what would happen if that was the case, but we'll see. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see this or if you guys can zoom in, but essentially what I did is I filled up this like gap, and I'm crossing my fingers that the dams don't break. Filled up the gap, and now it seems to be doing all right. Let's see if I have something to cut this. Oops. One thing you can do with this kind of a thing too is you can make a squeegee and kind of screed it out. Let me see if I have scissors back here. I don't use scissors a whole lot. I have some blades, but let's see if I can cut this open or cut this off. So if you've ever done work with Bondo, you know what I'm doing here. I'm just basically making a little squeegee And by cutting this off, hopefully I'm not freaking anyone out by running this blade. I'm freaking myself out, so I'm just trying to score and break it off, basically. Once I get a little bit going, it should. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this over, just like that, and it should just pull everything, basically using it like a Bondo squeegee. And I learned early as a kid, working on hot rods and stuff, from my stepdad actually, the smoother you make your Bondo, the less sanding you have to do. So it's always nice to kind of just thin it out and let it get nice and smooth, because then feathering out that stuff, it's not so much work. And I guess I'll put it over here. All right, so I can see it kicking off. It's starting to change color. It's getting kind of yellow. I'm going to very gently put this over here, and then we're going to bring on what the donor car is, which is the SE. So let me gently take this off camera. Okay, so now we got the SE. I wish there was a better way for me to zoom in on these comments, because I can barely see them from so far away. I'm doing my best. I know once I start actually fabbing, it's going to be hard. So eventually, probably what we're going to do is when we do builds like this and I'm actually getting work done, I'm probably going to just say, put a Q in front of your question if it's a question, and I'm going to stop and read at certain intervals, try to answer all the questions. Makes it a little easier for me to see what's going on. So this is going to be the donor car. The power plant's going to be different. But what I want is the transmission. I love this new transmission. It's called the Stealth XF. Oh, you know what? Maybe I should show you this real quick. I don't know if you saw what I did here. So I took off my clips. And I actually glued in two little magnets right here. Those two little magnets. And so it's a nice little trail tip that you can just throw your clips there when you have to change your batteries and whatnot. And we'll get out of your way. Speaking of out of my way, my TIG pedal cord is driving me crazy. Stepping on it, all that kind of stuff. Morning, RC Boy 619. What it do? So, I'll take another sip of my coffee because I need it. I'll try not to slurp this time. All right. So, why do I want to use this on the Whoopacabra? Well, when you're making RC pre-runners, weight transfer and balance is like super, super important. So what the nice thing about this transmission is it's low and it puts the weight bias either direction. So what I'm going to do is, instead of running it this way with the motor facing forward, I'm going to flip it around and run the motor facing back. I want this Whoopacabra to be kind of like BJ Baldwin's Loki. That was the whole reason why I started designing it and printing it and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of neat that that's in the YouTubes right now and kind of getting popular because I'm working on one. But the idea is on his truck, when he's going over the loops and whatnot, that front end's floating like big time because of all the weight in the back, all the weight bias. So that's exactly what I'm going to do to this truck. I'm going to throw all the weight bias to the back and get that front end up. I'm also going to be building a swing set or like a beam front suspension from me and or Scale Metal Supplies is prototyping it. I'm kind of guinea pigging it, and I'm going to build it all up, and should be pretty rad. So right now, let's take this apart. And to take this apart, I'm going to have to take off these 4 and these 4, and that'll leave the axles kind of free floating, and then this whole trans should come out. I just realized though that I probably, we'll see if I can get this to flex, but the trans like sits inside the C channel of the frame, and it might be a little harder than I thought to get it out. But let's see, I've got about half an hour, a little more than half an hour left on the show, so let me see if I can bust this out. So I'm using something that I generally do not use on my RC stuff. I'm using this big driver just because I didn't want to bring my other one from home. Super important, if you got a driver like this that you're going to use, dial the clutch as low as possible. That way you don't break stuff. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad day when you start snapping things. Also, I wouldn't recommend doing anything with a small driver on, or with a small size on that type of driver, just because it's gonna strip it out like instantly. So all the small stuff I'm just gonna do by hand, and hopefully my hand doesn't get too tired. Yep, if nothing else works, just use zippy ties. Yeah, so I don't have a DeWalt one, but I've got a little driver at the house, at my workbench there where I do most of my building. Most of the stuff I do here is all the fab stuff, all the welding and whatnot. And yeah, so I didn't really want to bring one. I'll probably end up getting another one for here. It's just one more thing. I mean, this is my work. This is where I do all of my daily actual paycheck work stuff. So we'll see what happens. But, you know, I don't want to have to manage another set of batteries and all that kind of stuff to do this. I thought about getting a Porter cable. They make a smaller Porter cable driver that can run off these batteries. So thought about doing that too. See if I can get this to turn so I can undo the axle while I'm here. Or not the axle, the drive line. The other thing I do is what's up, Jeff Walter? Art Hopfer? Afternoon. Yeah, it's afternoon for you guys. It's early for me. I was telling everyone I was at the shop till 12:30 last night, finishing a project. And today we're going to Monster Jam, so I wanted to get everything done. I wasn't planning on going to Monster Jam, but then ended up being like, you know what, that last project was a real pain in the butt. Let's go. So back at it. Finished up the project, and the client came and picked it up this morning, so it's still early for me. Well, it's not early. I'm tired, but it's not early. It's about 9 o'clock. So that's not too bad. All right, so let's take these drive lines out. Let's flip this around. Scott Long, what's going on? Thanks for coming over, guys. That's awesome. Got some viewers coming in. Hopefully the audio is good for everyone. I'm not using my typical mic. I'm using my earbuds just so I don't get any metal shavings and whatnot over things. My son and I were carpet racing and drifting till almost midnight last night. That's awesome. I would have much rather been doing that. I've got some, I hadn't planned on going to Monster Jam. I wanted to, but I just hadn't planned on it. And I am, what's going on, James RC? Thanks for popping in. Alive before my life. That's awesome. Right on. Yeah, I'm seeing how this works out for me. It's going to be a tough time slot. After thinking about it a little bit, I realized we race and we comp and we go and do all this stuff. So I might end up doing some lives on location, and they'll probably be short little lives, or I'll burst in and burst out kind of a thing, just because I want to stay consistent. So it might be a quick little pop in and be like, what's going on, guys? We're at the track today. This is what the track looks like, all that kind of stuff. So we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, I'm trying to, if I do something, I want to be consistent with it. I think these will be cool because they're going to, so these are also going to be part of a longer video series that I'm going to be doing. And that's the taco chop stuff. So like you're going to see this turn into the Whoopacabra, Tony's taco chop build, the SCX6 build, and I've got another build that I'm kind of trying to cook up. I don't really know what I'm going to do with it. I don't have a theme for it, but I have another donor car to do something. So I was like, well, I could do something now, or I can hold off and wait till the fall, or I could build it and sell it. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see if I can actually, you know what? I'm going to take these off first. So for those just hopping in, what I'm doing is I'm working on what I'm calling the Whoopacabra. I already did some body work to it, and I'm poaching the trans out of this truck for it. So basically it's going to be a pre-runner Blazer. Should be pretty sick. Actually, I'm gonna move that up too. So I got to take all the parts off to make sure I can get all the donor parts for this one. So basically what I'm going to use, I'm going to use the trans out of it. It's kind of and the rear axle. That's kind of the only thing I'm going to use. Everything else will go for another build at another time. That's the nice thing about the Element platform, is that you can get the parts relatively easily. So for instance, because I'm using the rear axle, I can just buy another axle kit and the Stealth Trans kit and have another truck, which would be pretty rad. Maybe I should make a 6x6. I've never made one of those. They've never really interested me, but you know, I'm always up for a challenge. I'm excited to do these builds for the SCX6, for the Got Your 6 project on the lives. That'll be cool, because then people can see something different being built. This week, I'm probably not going to get to do much welding, well, any welding this go around. But in videos coming up, you're going to see a lot of welding. A lot of welding. I'll talk you through the process. I'll talk you through my setup, all that kind of thing. So I'm leaning over this way because my iPad's right here, and I'm trying to read the comments as they're going by. So. That's one side almost completely out. Maybe I'll build a truck to flip. What do you guys think I should build next? So I've got the Frankenwagon. I've got the Lazarus and the little, my bug that I built. I kind of want to do like a RC four-wheel drive body. Never done one of those. I like the hard body scale stuff. The problem is that to buy it, it's a little out of my budget. I try to do everything on a budget and keep it cheap. So like my bodies are 3D printed, you know, like actually for builders, if you guys are building something, this Sendero SE platform is an awesome platform for that because it's pretty cheap and it's got a really good trans. The bushings, yeah, I get it. I can't say I'm not a fan of them, but I probably, in a real fancy build, I definitely switch it out to the ball bearings. But the bushings for the climate that I'm at are actually a really good call because they're I run through water all the time. And you'll see that in a video coming out probably Monday. I took the Vanquish out and ran that in some riverbeds. It was a lot of fun. So back to this. This is a great platform because it's so cheap and you get all the guts, all the main running gear. And then you could sell the wheels, you could sell parts that you don't use. But that's why I 3D print a lot of my bodies because it ends up being, a roll of filaments, 20 to 30 bucks. And it's not going to take a full roll. And so to get a really sick body that no one else has for that kind of money for me is totally worth it. So, but, I kind of would like to do a Jeep. So I have a hard body Jeep. That was my daughter's. One of those Endura ones. I could do one of those. I have an axial blazer body that I could do. That would actually be kind of cool because then I could do like a Rubicon-esque, like full body invasion type truck. Maybe I'll do something like that. That'd be a fun little build. What are your guys' suggestions? Like a class 1 style crawler? Yeah, I don't know. Like class 1's cool, but I don't know. The other thing I thought about building was something a little bigger and doing like a class 3 U4 King of the Hammer style truck. I really want to start a little project here with just a handful of people, kind of like how King of the Hammers started, and start our own little King of the Hammers run, but do it a little different. It's not necessarily U4, but have it be a little different. And I think something like that would be a lot of fun to do. So cross your fingers that after I pull these out, I can spread the chassis enough to get the trans plate out. I think I could probably manipulate it. I think I have some leverage here that I could work with. Anyone into the Mint 400? Oh yeah. I thought, so my daughter's a big fan of Sarah Price. I thought she won UTV. I'm not sure. Or maybe that was the other race. But that just happened, and I'm pretty sure she won it. Sarah Price. She's an awesome lady.
Okay. Oh yeah, I can wiggle that out. Hopefully I don't cut myself. Oh, good. And this motor's on bullets. I love these big bullets. So this is like one of my favorite setups. It's not the most budget-friendly setup, but it's one of my favorite setups. This motor is a 540 can. I love the 558 turn. The 558 turn on a 1080 ESC is like the best cheap, like quasi. I mean, I think you could. I've comped with it, and it's not even. I mean, it's comping, and you're running a $60 setup motor and ESC. This ESC is one of my favorites though for a brushed motor. This is the BRXL Holmes Hobbies. Love that ESC. You can run high amperage on it. I think you can run it up to 4S, maybe 6S. What does it say? Yeah, you can run 6S LiPo on it. That's bananas. Oh, coffee's good. Coffee is good. Okay. So let's see if I can get this bad boy out without cutting myself. No, I went the wrong way. Let's go that way. Oh, I forgot about that. Okay. So there's some cord management. That's part of the clamshell here. I think it's just 3 screws. Let's try it out. SCX axles on a full cage rock racer. Yeah, that'd be cool. That's not budget friendly. But for me, but I would love to do something like that, especially after kind of looking at the SCX6 and getting into it for the Got Your 6 build. Yeah, that really got me interested in doing something with that platform. Everyone knows what those RC Speedy Jeep bodies look, or Jeep cages look like. I just use them because people know what I'm talking about when I say that. But so hold on, I got to focus here because if I don't want to lose any gears. There we go. Put that back on. Okay, so I was thinking about doing something like with a cage similar to that, but making it a little more old school. That's definitely my vibe. Okay. Pop this one in. So what do you guys think of this type of platform or format? Let me know if you like it. Obviously, leave a comment. If you're watching this on the after live and you're catching it on the replay, leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. Like I said, in future episodes, we're going to be actually fabricating a lot more and doing welding and cutting and all that kind of stuff. And it's going to be part of a bigger series that's showcasing the whole build thing. So the idea that I'm having is that it's going to be like, imagine a few minutes of talking, the long form video, a few minutes of talking, a few minutes of like time lapse building, then coming back and talking about how I did it, and then like a cut of a UDR run or a crawling run or a monster truck run or racing, whatever it is, but break it up. And I want to keep it under 20 minutes. Ideally, I'd like to keep it under 15 minutes and have these broken up so you could just kind of see the sequence of what's going on. I think that'll be pretty entertaining. Let me know what you guys think. And I'd like to start dropping that style of video more often. But yeah, it's going to be a challenge to edit all that kind of stuff out because I'm basically making 3 or 4 videos in one. And then what I'm thinking about doing is actually writing and making some funny commercials. So like my sponsors that I have that help me with builds and stuff, make funny commercials about what I'm doing with their products. So hang on, let me move this off to the side. And I'm going to get something from Scale Metal Supplies. And we're going to transform. So here's another prototype. Oh, a bag of goodies. So we got a prototype rail. We've got the, here, I'll go over all this in a second. Let me get it out first. And then we'll talk about it. Scale Metal Supplies. Awesome junk. It's not junk, but it's awesome. So a lot of this stuff helps me out. I've got a whole kit underneath of stuff I've had over the years. They're going to be celebrating an anniversary. They're going to have a sale soon, so keep on the lookout. And it's going to be rad. So they've been in business now for 4 years, I think. I think I've been a team driver for 3 years. I was shortly after the first team driver, I think. But yeah, it's been an awesome ride. Andre makes some really awesome stuff. So kudos to him. Okay, so this is a experimental pre-runner rail, kind of trophy truck-esque chassis. So one of the things you can see is that it's got a really large hoop on the back, and that's for the long travel. And so you can mount your shocks still in the same spot and have long travel, or we're going to be working on possibly getting the gatekeeper shock mounts. I'm ultimately going to probably make my own tube cage shock mounts, but it's going to be a rad project. So what I'm doing with this is I'm going to mount this backwards so that all the weight is in the back, and it'll keep the weight back, rear bias so that it'll jump better, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, this is a really rad frame kit. I agree. So let's see if I can get this started in here. So again, if you're using a power driver like this, set your chuck as low as it'll go and just go until you snug it. Then go in and hand snug everything else, because you don't want to tear out your threads on the plastic. Nice, new LCG chassis. That's cool. For the Phoenix, I took my Phoenix out for the first time. So that was part of a trade that Tony and I did. And incidentally, again, sorry, Tony, I didn't realize that your logo was up there too till later, and my camera to control everything is up there, so I can't change the logos. But anyways, so we swapped out. Ooh, you know what? Here's some R&D stuff that we're going to have to figure out. So I'm using this motor back, going backwards. I don't know how much pinion angle I'm going to have to the axle that'll let me get full compression with the motor back here. That's going to be interesting. We'll have to see about that. I might not need all of it that we're looking at, because I'm going to be running small tires. So we'll see. But all part of the process. All part of the process. Man, these rails are gorgeous. Okay, let's get these 2 screws. Let's drop this on. And it's funny, I did a big dumb mistake. My Whoopacabra body was supposed to be 12.8, so I can run the gatekeeper trailing arms. And I accidentally made the body 12.3. So now I got to figure out a way to make trailing arms or to mount the gatekeeper trailing arms more forward so that it all works out. Okay, so this is kind of like a cooking show. My epoxy is probably done, so I can come and bring it over to here and set it on there. Ooh, yeah. So there's the epoxy on the top there. You can see the gap that I filled, and you can see how smooth it is. I'm still going to need to throw some filler in there, but it's nice and smooth, and that's what we want. So I'm sizing this up a little bit to see where, oh, this is going to be perfect. This is sweet. Yeah, I'm happy with it. So you can really see the wide body on this when it's at an angle. It's going to be a pretty rad pre-runner build. I wasn't going to paint it like the Loki color. I was going to paint it the olive drab and do black accents on it. But now that Loki's getting popular again, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I saw that on Scale Builders Guild. I'm going to be honest. I think it works well for small gaps. The gap that I had, there's no way that it would get hot enough to adhere to the sides of it. And it's probably, I don't know. I'd be skeptical on that. Little pin line cracks, yeah, I think that'd be fine. But that gap was too big. I had to make a dam underneath it with duct tape. So yeah, I was contemplating that too. But anyways, back to the beam kit. So we got the little hangers for your arms, and then these pieces for your actual beams, or for the swing arms. I'm excited. I don't know anything about that. I have to like look at reference material, and I'm going to have to build it based off of that. But yeah, I don't know much about it. I know it's going to be a pretty sweet process, but I'm going to build it on 10 scale first because I want to get some chops doing it before we translate it to the 6 scale. And once we get it right, then I can blow everything up and do it to the 6 scale, and it should work out the way I want it to. I want to experiment with the shock locations, all that kind of thing. This one's going to be hard because the body for this is going to sit pretty low on the frame. Maybe. So I don't know where, how long the shocks are going to be. Ideally, you want long shocks on the front so you can have long travel. But I think it's going to be tiny tire. Like I'm going to do 1.9, 3.19 diameter just to keep it scaled out and to, it'll be cool. I'll throw some paddles on the back. I have some RC 4-wheel drive paddles, and throw some normal tires back there. I'm going to use, as of right now, I'm going to use the General Grabber Element 3.19 tires and see how those work. But I might see if I can find, I think RC 4-wheel drive makes a BFG 319. I know I like the Patagonias too, but I don't know what's going to be the right look. I also am not 100% sure on what wheels I'm going to use on this. I have a set of comp cut spec wheels, and I like them, but I don't. That's the wheels that were on this existing on the Sendero kit. I like them, but I don't think they're the right look for this truck. I think they probably should be a black wheel, more method inspired maybe. But I think I'm going to have to run the comp cut just because I got to get that offset in so that it'll tuck under these fenders. I didn't want to go too much wider than what it is because it's already pretty fat. But I'm probably going to have to grind out some stuff because I definitely want that look of the tires stuffing under the fenders when it's going. And definitely, this body is going to be weird for me. I'm going to have to kind of baby it a little bit. It's super thick, and I think I might fiberglass it on the inside. We'll see, but I'm probably only going to run it on soft surfaces, meaning soft sand and soft dirt, because I want to put a high power motor in it and I want to jump it and watch the suspension work, but I also don't want to destroy it. So I'll let someone else destroy it. I'll probably drive it for a year, R&D it a little bit more, and then see if anyone else wants it. I'm sure there'd be a buyer for it. I'm doing a full interior cage on it. Probably do a little interior to it also, some lighting. It's going to be a fun rig. I'm actually really excited for it. It'll be a fun straight line rig too, kind of showing whoops, all that kind of thing. So any last questions before I hop off this? I think it was successful. I didn't get to Tony's on here. I'll probably get to it off camera, but I think it'll be a successful live type stream that we're going to be doing here. Let me know in the comments of anything else you'd like to see. If the camera angles were right, if you'd rather the camera angle be down lower. The problem with like over the shoulder and down lower is that it's hard to get everything in frame. And so if I put it down lower, like in front of me, I could look like I'm talking to the camera better, but then it's harder to see everything that's right here. So it's kind of no free lunch on that. I could also put a camera right above me so you don't see me at all, and it's just what I'm building, but I think it's probably a little bit easier to talk to someone when you can see them. Man, this coffee is delicious. All right, guys, don't forget to hit that like button. If you can, share this up with someone. I'll be back next Saturday. I've got a ton of building to do. So in between now and then, I have to work on the CCXRC build. I want to get that to a certain point. And then I also have to work on, I have to build a race car, stadium truck, because on the 14th, we're racing at the expo. So I'd love to get Tony's rig to work close to done. It'd be great to get it in paint. If I could get the body done and get it all mounted up. But I'd like to get that done by the 14th, the race car done by the 14th, and then I'd like to start working on the SCX6 somewhere in between there. At least putting it into CAD and drawing up the cage, all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. Thanks, man. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, James. Yeah, it's hard trying to do the side shot, and I have a problem because my hands when I'm building stuff, they tend to cover things because I have big hands or if I'm wearing gloves. So I always kind of have to be like, okay, what's the best angle to see something? But you know, it's a trade-off, I guess. Like we were talking about, there's no free lunch to it. So, all right, guys. So that being said, I'm out. Have a great weekend. Hopefully we stay dry at Monster Jam. I'll try to get a couple cool pictures from Monster Jam. And I'll be making some bench videos. Stay tuned next week for a Phoenix first run video. I've got my Phoenix kit out there. Did a first run. Stay tuned for that. I have a monster truck video from a race we did a couple weeks ago that I'm going to try to post next week. And then I'm sure I'll get some more UDR footage and definitely some more fab footage. So I'm going to try to come in early before work a few times before during the week. So we'll see how that goes. Awesome. Thanks, Jeff, for the comment on the shot. So, all right, I got to walk around the table to turn this thing off. But until next time, guys, have a good one. Stay safe out there.